classic in the world of motorsport. It was a new man on the scene, John Garrett, who said hello and goodbye to the Superboat fleet, taking his first win in the season opener. In open class, after a long battle with two-time national champs John and J.D. D'Elia in Special Edition, another relative newcomer, Stuart Hayham, took his first checkered flag in national competition. Then it was down the coast to Long Beach, California for the next OPT battle. A clash developed between the 88 and 89 Superboat World Champions. Don Johnson in his Big Cat Team USA was challenged by Peter Markey's Little Caesars Pizza Deep V. But this time, it was a familiar newcomer, movie idol Chuck Norris, who took the wheel of the Popeyes Diet Coke, winning his first ever offshore race. In the open class, Nuri Sabunja and his Lamborghini-powered chairman of the board outlasted the fleet to take the checkered flag. In the Pro 2 class, Bill and Warren Gazelle took their first victory of the season, which highlighted consistent top 5 finishes, earning them the top spot in the OPT Pro 2 National Points race. When the fleet arrived in Miami, the stage was set for an epic battle. For lap after lap, Chuck Norris in the Popeyes Diet Coke and Don Johnson in his Team USA fought bow eye to bow eye up and down Miami Beach. But when the smoke cleared, it was John Garrett and the In Excess who took the Superboat checkered flag, Garrett's second of the season. The open class duel boiled down to the D'Elia's fast Jaguar Cat Special Edition and the larger 40-foot Italian coupe hull Dirty Laundry of Joe Mock. The Dirty Laundry used its size advantage to outdo the D'Elia's, earning Joe Mock his first ever open class victory. In the Pro 1 division, Rick Felson and the High Risk stood the test and won the race in Miami after 2 third-place finishes earlier in the season. The tour then moved to the Mardi Gras city of New Orleans, Louisiana, and saw the fastest speed so far on the season. The highlight duel was between Don Johnson and boat builder Reggie Fountain as their 2 superboats battled around Lake Pontchartrain at speeds in excess of 120 miles per hour. It was Fountain who took the checkered flag in the 45-foot 3-engine Deep V of his own design. In open class action, the D'Elia family in Special Edition had their hands full with challenges from Bob Kaiser and Errol Lanier in the Gentry Turbo Eagle, and with Joe Mock and Smitty Smith in the Dirty Laundry. At the finish, it was the Big Coupe edging out the Jaguar, providing the Dirty Laundry crew with their second win in a row. Rick Felson and the High Risk was another back-to-back winner, marking his second OPT victory on the Big Lake. From down south, it was a long trailer ride up to Grand Haven, Michigan, where the fleet took on the heaviest waters seen so far on the tour. The race action was furious as the big waters held back the speeds and forced the big boats to battle it out neck and neck throughout the contest. Brazilian national champion Ike Batista and veteran throttleman Bobby Moore in the Spirit of the Amazon fought Don Johnson and Richie Powers in Team USA early until the number 50 lost its power steering and had to retire. Back in the pack, the battle action was just as fierce. 1989 Superboat national champ Charles Marks and 89 Superboat world champ Peter Markey put on a show reminiscent of their battles throughout last season. The Superboat win went to Ike Batista in the Spirit of the Amazon, who weathered the storm and held on for victory in his U.S. debut. The open class had plenty of big water action all of its own. The father-son team of John and J.D. D'Elia had a brawl on their hands with the brothers from Puerto Rico, Juan and Felix Sorales, in the Don Q Crystal. But as the smaller boats fought their battle, it was the Dirty Laundry who won the war as Joe Mock took an unprecedented third consecutive victory. In the Pro 1 division, Stephen Dorsich shed his bridesmaid label after 3 second-place finishes and withstood the pounding to take his first OPT checkered flag. After Grand Haven, the OPT fleet didn't have long to lick its wounds as the tour made its debut in New York City. The Hudson River course offered the racers a chance to put on a high-speed performance. Don Johnson and Richie Powers answered the call and set a blistering 127-mile-per-hour average speed on the first lap. Unfortunately, Team USA couldn't keep it together and blew a drive. That set the stage for Chuck Norris in the Popeyes Diet Coke and Charles Marks in the Payless Eric's Reality. The two giants battled it out lap after lap to the finish, where Norris made his move. The Popeyes team took its second victory of the season, placing Norris and company just 84 points behind OPT Superboat leader John Garrett. In the open class, the fast Jag Cat of the D'Elias found the flat waters just to their liking as they took their first win of the season with a 107-mile-per-hour average speed. The D'Elias win tied up the OPT open class national points race between the special edition, and Joe Mock's Dirty Laundry with a 2,579-point standoff. The Pro 1 race developed into a war as points leader Rick Felson in the Popeyes High Risk and Stephen Dorsich in the Risky Business went nose-to-nose on the Hudson. At the finish line, it was Californian Stephen Dorsich taking the checkered flag and moving to an oh-so-slim 14-point lead over Felson in the OPT Pro 1 class. With 7 boats in 3 classes in contention, that makes today's race in Marathon a winner-take-all showdown for the 1990 Offshore Professional Tour National Championship. From ESPN. The 1990 Marathon Offshore Challenge OPT National Championship. The Marathon Offshore Challenge is sponsored by the Monroe County Tourist Development Council, the Florida Keys, and Key West. Popeyes famous fried chicken and biscuits. The OPT fleet has returned to Marathon to settle the national points race. 3 out of 4 classes are up for grabs in this, the premier season of the Offshore Professional Tour. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Art Eckman, and working with me again is Jim Hendrick. And, Jim, I can't imagine a more appropriate setting to finalize the OPT circuit. After 6 great races, we come to Marathon, Florida, which has such a tremendous history of racing.
Yes, it does. There'll be a lot of fans on hand, not only on the shore, on the 7-mile bridge, out on spectator boats, but, you know, traditionally, we started the racing here. We opened the season in Marathon. This year, we close it. And those blue-green waters out there can be very treacherous, or it could be a piece of cake in this final regular season race of OPT. We're going to have to wait and find out.
I don't think even the pioneers of the OPT circuit, which has spanned the nation in 6 previous races, envisioned such a close competition all the way.
You couldn't have written a better script. It is so exciting. It's down to this last final race, and the drivers, I know they're going to have anticipation, a lot of excitement. I'm excited. Can't wait for it to start.
Okay, we'll be right back with the start of the OPT National Championships from Marathon, Florida, right after this. Preparation for today's important Offshore Professional Tour battle, and with last-minute adjustments being made, Jim, let's take a look at the course here at Marathon.
The interesting factor about this race course is it will take the boats from the relatively calm Gulf of Mexico into the unpredictable waters of the Atlantic. The fleet will start off the Faro Blanco Lighthouse and race west along the 7-mile bridge for 3 miles in the Gulf of Mexico. At Moser Channel, the boats turn south through the bridge into the Atlantic Ocean. Then it's out to sea and checkpoints 2 and 3 near Sombrero Light. The fleet heads back through the 7-mile bridge into the protected waters of the Gulf to complete a lap of 21 miles. Each class must make a predetermined number of laps to complete today's race. 7 laps, or 147 miles for Superboat and Open classes. 5 laps, 105 miles for Pro 1 and Pro 2. This is a very important day in OPT racing. It'll decide the national championships in all the classes, and we'll cover it from all the angles, in the air and on the land. Let's go to Rich Lord.
Thanks, Jim. We're looking forward to a blistering race here at the conclusion of the OPT season. In the Pro Stock class, Steve Dorsich and Rich Felson are going right down to the wire in the race for the national championship. And an Open class, oh boy, Joe Mock and John D'Elia, who can say more? They're going to go at it at very, very fast speeds today, probably 120 or better. And what's going to prove to be a very flat race course. There's no wind out here today at all. The race conditions should be ultra fast, ultra smooth. It's going to be one whale of a barn burner out there.
And lots of spectators. Some of the numbers there in the wet pits getting a close-up look before the boats actually get on the course. It's going to be a tight race in that Superboat class.
I'll tell you how tight, Art. 3 boats have a chance to take it all in Superboat class. 84-point lead for In Excess over Popeyes. Little Caesars, 219 points off the pace, has an outside chance.
Al Copeland has brought a fleet of boats in this final race of the OPT season in hopes of keeping the heat on our season-long points leader, John Garrett.
I know the rules allow him to put as many boats in as he wants, but I really don't feel it's very fair. I've been offered just about every superboat here to get into and put my number on and drive. But I've turned it all down because I started in this boat and I'm going to finish in this boat, and I think that's the way it should be done.
A very competitive John Garrett trying to hold on to his Superboat points lead. Now let's take a look at the open class. We have another winner-take-all situation with Special Edition and Dirty Laundry deadlocked in points. The veteran defending U.S. champion John D'Elia has been there before.
How's the stomach? Any butterflies?
Well, I always get butterflies, you know, the morning of the race, but I'm really not as nervous as I thought I'd be, Jim, to be honest about it. I've been here before. I won the national championship 4 years in a row, and 2 of the 4. It came down to the last race, so it's going to be an interesting race. And, you know, Joe Mock and Dirty Laundry is my competitor. It's really a match race between Joe and myself, and it's going to be quite a race. The water favors me, a lot of turns, flat water. However, it's a dangerous course. We have the bridge. The bridge could be very dangerous, could make the difference. Congestion on the course could be a problem, but I think it's going to be a good race, and I think it's a great way to wind up the first year of OPT.
Here is the national point situation for Pro 1. Steve Dorsich and John Bruno in Risky Business. Only a 14-point lead on Rick Felson and John Engel in Popeye's High Risk. Now it's merely a formality in Pro 2 for Great Adventure. The team of Bill and Warren Gazelle have that points race sewed up.
13 boats in the Superboat starting lineup, including a brand new Bud Dry. August Bush IV driving, Jeff Sober on the throttles. Tom Gentry's back in the saddle of the Gentry Eagle. John Connor beside him. Chuck Norris in the number 13 Popeyes Diet Coke. Super Hawaii, Yoshiro Katami and Bill Soroy's teaming up. Don Johnson, Richie Powers and Team USA. Sprint of the Amazon, Ike Batista with veteran Bobby Moore. Pete Markey and Bruce Jenner. And Little Caesars Pizza. Jaguar Marine with Dan Campbell and Jack Clark. Apache Kid, Alan Feingold and Jerry Davis. In Excess, the leader with John Garrett and Ralph Martin. At Popeye's Diet Coke, the second entry, Al Copeland and Bob Idoni. And Stan Ware in the 213 Popeye's Diet Coke with Tom McCurry.
Jim, the green flag is up. And Team USA, just like they've done in all the other races, trying for that lead here at the beginning. Oh, we've got a great start. Look at that battle, a four-way battle.
A beautiful sight here at Marathon, Florida. The fastest race boats for distance in the world as they come out now, heading toward the first turn, under the bridge and out to open sea.
Look at that Popeyes 113, the Scat Cat with Al Copeland at the top of your screen. Don Johnson, though, taking off. Tom Gentry is coming up. Nice move for him. Ike Batista in Spirit of the Amazon. Oh, we've got a great start.
A great start, and speeds are going to increase, Art, as they have a full load of fuel on board in each one of these boats. As they burn it off, they'll become lighter, they'll go faster.
And our battle out in front now, Don Johnson and Tom Gentry. Gentry on the right, Johnson on the left. It's great to see Gentry back in that cockpit. Oh, In Excess, our points leader, dead in the water, Jim.
Can you believe this? They're going to try to fix it. They've done it before. They have to get it started. They have an 84-point lead. Final race of the year, national championship up for grabs. They're going to have to get restarted in hopes of catching this boat, driven by Chuck Norris, who, if he stays going the way he is, would become the national champion.
It kind of takes the pressure off of Norris a little bit right now, but he has to concentrate on finishing this race. Now with the Superboats underway, Jim, let's check the lineup for the open class.
8 entries, starting with Special Edition, John and J.D. D'Elia. Battling, Dirty Laundry, Joe Mock and Smitty Smith. Gentry Turbo Eagle, Bob Kaiser, Errol Lanier. A new entry, Mean Streak, with Bob Gallo and Bobby Cicenti. Thoroughbred with Steve Levine and Edwin Shear. Ali Veet, Bill Aylesworth and Pete Rhodes. Warhawk, Ron Gift and Carl Warren doing battle.
Another new entry, number 72, Photo Finish, Ed Collier and David Windmiller, and a 32-foot Douglas Skater, and they are on the top of the screen in first place. Dirty Laundry coming in on the inside track now. Special Edition is in between, dropping back to third.
Quite a picture here at Marathon. Now, what would the strategy be? Here is Dirty Laundry racing with the newcomer, and back dropping in third in the wake between the two boats is the D'Elia boys. Now, what's the strategy in that?
Well, D'Elia's aren't going to get too far away. They're going to try to keep up, but Dirty Laundry might be trying to burn out Special Edition a little bit, taking the fast start, putting the pressure on. Now, as we move to the 7-mile bridge, picking up the Superboat leader, as usual, Don Johnson in the early going is right where he wants to be.
And where we want to be is right here at Marathon. We'll be back with more action in just a moment. Back here at Marathon, Florida, the veteran Tom Gentry is serving notice he intends to return to offshore racing big time.
Jim, it was 1 year ago when Tom Gentry and his throttle man John Connor set out into the waters off Atlantic City to challenge for the Superboat World title. The Atlantic Ocean in the late fall is unforgiving. As the Gentry team found out when the hull was split from the intense pounding, neither man was injured, but the boat was a complete loss. Early this season, at the second race on the tour in Long Beach, Tom's son Norman teamed with John Connor. Leading into the first turn, the big wooden cat got away from the crew, spun out and flipped. The boat was destroyed. Luckily, again, neither man was seriously injured, but that put a serious dent in the Gentry fleet. In order to continue in competition, Tom Gentry ordered reconstruction of the oldest hull in the Gentry arsenal. It took months to revamp the old warhorse into the space-age design seen on the water today.
This was one of the first aluminum cats that was built, and we pulled this one off the shelf and decided we'd work on it and had a lot of fun with it. We've got a nice wing on it, and we've definitely got some horsepower out there. So it's come along pretty good.
Tom acknowledged the fact that this is only a shakedown cruise for this new project and looks forward to the World Championships to make his return to the winner's circle.
Speaking of returns, you have Norman Gentry back in the cockpit with his dad, and John Connors as we take a look at the tail section of the Gentry Turbo Eagle. Now let's go back to our leaders in Superboat action, and it's Don Johnson. Richie Power is on the throttles. Team USA still leading over the Amazon. And let's go upstairs to the helicopter and Rich Lures.
Here comes Spirit of the Amazon, number 63. They're going to make a move now. Right at the turn. This is going to be exciting going around this corner. Bobby Moore comes up. Richie Powers senses him. He hits the throttles too. We got a whale of a race going on. Supercharged and turbocharged power as these behemoths go at it right into the turn, number 2.
It could be dangerous at that speed going into that turn side by side.
You don't want them spinning out. They back down, throttle around, holding them off, but just barely around the corner. Don Johnson, Team USA. Spirit of the Amazon has them pinched in real tight on the turn, not giving them any room to slide out. And Ike Batista, number 63, and Bobby Moore giving Team USA all they can handle right now. Speeds about 110 to 115. Neither boat is wide open. Team USA just pulling away right now.
Amazon has backed off a bit, Jim. A rooster tail lead now for Team USA. Could be some strategy in the working here.
Maybe they're hoping that Team USA will break as they have in the past. Look, it's Super Hawaii traveling really good. This is the only diesel-powered boat in the Superboat fleet. Yashiro Katami from Honolulu, Hawaii.
And Jaguar Marine. Now, Dan Campbell is not with Charlie Marks. He's in this boat with Jack Clark. Rumor in the pits has it that he's looking for a new boat next year.
And it just possibly could be a Jaguar haul. Something's in the works, but they're keeping it quiet at this point.
Our points leader, overall in excess, is dead in the water. And who would have thought at the season start that Popeye's team would still be in contention for the points championship?
Our guys have done a great job this year. Chuck Norris has done a great job driving, and we've done a great job as a team because we pieced together equipment that we had from 2 years ago to try to make it competitive this year. Just to be this close in the running, I mean, it's a real compliment to my crew.
As we look now at the Popeyes team, currently the 113 is running in 5th spot. The 6th place team is this boat, Popeyes number 13, with Chuck Norris and Denny Haja. Now they could, if they stay like this, and the In Excess does not restart, could be the national champion.
Boy, that would really be something. Stan Ware has campaigned with Al Copeland from the very start. He's piloting 213 Popeyes Diet Coke. That's the oldest boat in the Popeyes fleet. In fact, this craft really started the superboat craze. It's the winningest hull in offshore history, Jim.
And from the oldest boat in the fleet to the newest, Bud Dry, a 40-foot skater cat, August Bush IV, and Jeff Sofer. They clocked at 84 mile an hour plus the first lap. They've slowed down now. They'll have to work out the bugs.
There goes Totally Awesome under the 7-mile bridge. What a shot that is. An Apache Kid coming toward us.
A 45-foot deep the Apache. Feingold and Davis, the team there. They have campaigned all year long. They're currently running 10th.
Little Caesar's Pizza, off the pace. It looks like engine problems, Jim. Now, with the points leader In Excess dead in the water and Popeyes, anything can happen at any time. These guys could take the championship.
They'll have to keep it going. That's the only chance they got, even if they limp home on a couple of engines. Speaking of engines, the Gentry Turbo Eagle not running up to the full RPM potential of this boat, but as Tom Gentry told us earlier, this is a testing period. We'll be back with more action on the waters off of Marathon, Florida, the heart of the Florida Keys, in just a moment. Keys, Marathon, Florida. Millions of people come here each year. Let's take a look at some of the reasons why. While having the convenience of a modern community, Marathon still retains its enchanting tropical charm. Located just 80 miles from Florida's mainland, Marathon is joined with its neighboring keys by the world-famous 7-Mile Bridge. Amidst the blue-green panorama of the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean, visitors can enjoy a host of activities. The large charter fleet enables the avid sportsman to enjoy angling for a variety of ocean game fish. For those who relish life under the waves, North America's only living coral reef provides a splendid backdrop for a variety of colorful fish and marine life. Landlubbers can play 18 holes in a...
Now in the open class, an ultimate battle for the series championship. Special edition and Dirty Laundry. Special edition 3 seconds in a row before the rough waters of Lake Michigan, and then they came back to win in New York. Dirty Laundry, the red boat. 3 straight wins, Miami, New Orleans, and Grand Haven. Oh, what a battle for this championship. And running well in third is Thoroughbred with Steve Levine and Edwin Shear.
And listen to our helicopter pick up the sounds of the engine. Seem to be running very well.
Fourth in the open class, the 41-foot Apache Mean Streak, Robert Gallo and Bob Cicenti. Cicenti was the throttle man of Team Apache when they survived a tremendous accident, and he's lucky to be alive.
Nice to see Bob Cicenti back in competition here today. Look at these 2 pro stock catamarans coming up and passing an open deep V.
It's cat water today. The slick water conditions not conducive for the deep V. They like the heavier water. Allay V, a good example. They're currently in 5th position. We saw them in the lead up in the heavy water of Grand Haven.
It looks as though more and more deep Vs are coming into open class competition these days, such as the Warhawk going under the 7-Mile Bridge right now.
Photo finish, dead in the water. It's steaming out there.
A brand new entry. Started out pretty good. I think that's just an overheated engine. If the smoke was black, then you'd have a fire. Here, what can you say? Bob Kaiser will not put much of the 1990 season in his diary this year, but he and Errol Lanier will come back. They are fierce competitors. Speaking of coming back, we will too, with Pro 1 action from Marathon, Florida, in just a moment.
Marathon Offshore Challenge, Art Ekman and Jim Hendrick in Pro 1. Thoroughbred, your leader. This boat won at Long Beach, Ed Shear and Steve Levine, but they've since moved to open class and Robbie Gallen and John Thumbleson piloting this boat now.
They have a big lead, but while second-place battle between first defenseman Mike Novick and Steve Dorsich in Risky Business. Let's go up to Rich Lewis in the helicopter.
Talk about bow handle to bow handle, Risky Business in first defense. It doesn't get any closer than this. Going into checkpoint number 2. Both of these boats are coming very close to each other, and each, as they went down the straightaway, Steve Dorsich here in the Risky Business with John Bruno on the throttles. And Mike Novick roaring around the checkpoint in hot pursuit of Thoroughbred, which is just in front of us for the lead in the race. We're going to follow him right around the turn. You can see it's not as calm as it looks in there. There's quite a few wakes in here, and they're coming around some very tight turns, very tight turning conditions. They've made up quite a bit of distance on the lead boat, Thoroughbred, in these 2 turns, both boats. And they're threatening to pass him in this straightaway.
So the battle continues with Risky Business and, of course, first defense for second place, while Thoroughbred, B39 ahead. These boats in Pro 1 and 2 may be outboard driven, they may be smaller, but I'll tell you one thing, Art Ekman, they are fast.
They're having a fun ride, that's for sure. Currently in 4th place, Alan Shapiro and his partner. The question is, where is Rick Felson, who's in a points battle? Here's Popeye's High Risk with Rick. They're not running well, but he's desperately trying to get ahead of Risky Business to win that points race. Felson doesn't like running just to finish.
I only have one problem with that. I like to come in first, and, you know, with the possibility of the motors breaking, we got bridges, buoys out there, you have so many little obstacles. I think you really just have to go out there and just try to run your fastest race and just be ahead. I can't just worry about one boat and try to come in fifth and have him come in sixth. I want to win the race.
Rick Felson in high risk in one of the few boats remaining that not only doesn't have a canopy, doesn't even have a small windshield for deflection. Unlike the B4 Gone Again, riding in sixth place, you can see both the driver and the throttle man are enclosed in canopies. They're currently sixth. Looking at Eastern Express from St. Clair Shores, Michigan, these guys are down and out of the race going home under one engine power.
Let's take a look at Pro 2 now, leading Conch Attack. They won 2 races already in the series, one in New Orleans, the other one in New York. They are running well, and Great Adventure's coming up right behind them. Great Adventure, they have 1 win on the season. That was in California at Long Beach. They've got a 2nd and 2/3 also on the season. They're in good position right now. They've got the points title sewed up. They're just racing for pride right now at 2nd place.
And in 3rd place, the winner at Grand Haven, Michigan, in that rough water, the Deep V boat, Splish Splash, the S32.
Jim, they also had an impressive appearance in Long Beach, their first outing of the year, taking a 2nd place. Now, John DeLea told us earlier, the water conditions today are ideal for this special edition boat, leading the open class.
Well, the positions have reversed in the open class as John and J.D. DeLea have taken a small lead now over the cube of Joe Mock and Harold Smitty Smith. The distance separating them is not very great. It's still a tight boat race, but Dirty Laundry is falling now maybe 100 yards behind Special Edition. We're doing 118 miles an hour, so it looks like Special Edition is setting the pace and challenging Joe Mock to stay up with them. And making a very bold move, putting the hammer down at this point in the race. Trying to put some distance between themselves and Dirty Laundry, and then perhaps coast to the finish. So it's a bold move. We'll see if it pans out over time. The Special Edition has now pulled out more than a football field in length.
Special Edition's advantage, they're quicker in the turns. And they're making good use of that as Dirty Laundry then picks up the slack on the straightaways. A great back-and-forth battle here in the open class. Don't count out Joe Mock and Harold Smitty Smith. They're great competitors.
It's been a close battle with everybody all year long. Nobody's been far out in front. Nobody's been far behind. And it's a good feeling to be here. This is a one-race win or lose, so the strategy is going to be go out and run as hard as you can, as long as you can.
Yeah, but couldn't you go out there and maybe break?
Well, we can't let him get too far in front of us, and I'm sure he won't let us get too far in front of him. We're going to try to, if the engines are overheating or any problems, we'll back off. But we'll basically be running as hard as we can safely.
The cool sounds of Joe Mock, and he is cool in that cockpit along with his partner, Harold Smitty Smith. Currently in 3rd. Thoroughbred in the open division. They're still strong behind those points leaders, and they're in great position, Jim.
Also in great position and leading in the Superboat class, Don Johnson, Richie Powers in the Superboat Team USA, averaging close to 100 miles an hour. We'll be back with more action, OPT style, from Marathon, Florida, in just a moment.
It's a great sport. It attracts, just a lot of people. We race in exotic locations, but still, it's a new sport relatively in terms of the corporate sponsors, and we're hoping that this season has proven that we're for real, and they'll come and get aboard for next year.
Looking for real right now after disappointing breakdowns have plagued this crew throughout the season.
You're looking at 50 feet of Superboat Team USA. Don Johnson in the driver's seat. At the throttles is Richie Powers. In the back seat, the navigator, John Sadowski, who built this boat, and he's a happy guy. Look at him give us the salute today.
Running 2nd, Super Hawaii, the Deep V, the only diesel-powered boat in the field. Interesting combination that's been calculated, not an evolution.
Well, obviously, Super Hawaii is a V-bottom manufacturer, okay? We manufacture and build V-bottom boats, and we want to and basically have to run a product that we manufacture. And because of that, we'd like to think that because the diesel power in the V-bottom, that we can go out and run basically wide open all day long, that the cats can't do. And that's shown in the history of the sport. cats go out and they run wide open, and believe me, they're not going to go the distance. With a diesel package and a V-bottom, you can run wide open all day long. You can run 110, 115 miles an hour and maintain that pace. So that's the approach we're taking right now, is diesels and a V-bottom boat.
The veteran Bill Soroyce looking for dependability and speed in the Super Hawaii, and he's a veteran that knows what he's talking about. He was with the Popeyes racing team and throttled this very boat, who's running third, just a couple of years ago. Chuck Norris, in his first year of OPT racing, assesses the season.
I think they did well. I think OPT was very organized this year, and I think all the men involved in OPT are really dedicated to it, and I think it's going to grow more and more every year.
And, Jim, I have a feeling that Chuck Norris is not going to stand on shore and watch it grow year after year.
He's having too much fun as we look at Al Copeland and Bob Idoni in the Popeyes 113, currently running in 4th place. Meanwhile, the 5th place 213 Popeyes Diet Coke report a steering problem, Art.
Yes, the helicopter told us Stan Ware was struggling with the wheel earlier, and this is a very dangerous place to have a steering problem. It looks like they might have to go through the bridge guards by the use of the throttles, not the steering wheel.
That's exactly what Tom McCurry's doing, steering with the throttles to get under the 7-mile bridge, and, well, he makes it out to open water.
Oh, that was a lucky break.
Now we're looking at the 6th place Apache Kid, and if you notice, the left engine does not have any cooling water coming out. They're down to 2 engines, but maintaining 6th place for the Apache.
In 7th,
Little Caesars Pizza. Trey's Martin, not only the throttle man for Peter Markey here, he's the crew chief for both InXS and Little Caesars. He's having his problems today. Not running as fast as he liked. Little Caesars wants to keep it together, though, because they still might have an outside chance at the championship.
That's because InXS is definitely out of the race, and here is the Bud Dry, the 6th superboat to drop out. They started with 13, they're down to 7 as we check the open class.
Oh, what a great battle we have, and here's the classic example of the power generated by Dirty Laundry, the red boat, overtaking Special Edition for 1st place. More power on the straightaways, Jim.
Well, that's the way it proves out today. On the turns, it seems the lighter boat, Special Edition, has the advantage, but in the long straightaways, such as we're witnessing here, it's the red boat with Smitty Smith on the throttles, Joe Mock and Dirty Laundry taking back 1st place once again in this seesaw battle for the Open Championship.
And the seesaw battle will determine the season championship as well, as Dirty Laundry and Special Edition battle it out 1 and 2. It's Thoroughbred for 3rd. A very consistent ride for this team.
A 38-foot Cougar inboard is the number 39 Thoroughbred in open class. This is a sister ship, a 32-foot skater outboard-driven P39 Thoroughbred leading in Pro 1 class.
In 2nd place, Risky Business, Stephen Dorsich. They won the last 2 races, Grand Haven and New York, in a class with the same hulls, engine power, same specs. What is his edge?
I think the edge is just keeping a straight line. You know, the old saying, fly like the crow flies. That's what we're trying to do here. Not deviate around the course, stay right on course, and get through it really cleanly. That's the main thing.
And if he stays on course and gets through it cleanly in 2nd place, where he's at right now, he'll be the national champion in Pro 1.
Here's our 3rd place Pro 1 craft, Team USA. They're still sounding sharp and running smooth.
At Popeye's high risk, with lots of gestures from Rick Felson to John Engel, he has to catch Risky Business if he's to win the championship today. He's 2 slots back.
In Pro 2, great adventure, ending a championship season in style. They've taken over the lead in this final race of the regular season. They've already wrapped up the season title, so what a way to go out, Jim.
The Gazelle brothers, to be congratulated. Will you look at this? In open class, once again, the Delias have taken the lead in open class as Special Edition leads Dirty Laundry. We'll be back with more exciting action from Marathon, Florida in just a moment.
And Jim Hendrick from Marathon, Florida. Welcome back to the Marathon Offshore Challenge OPT National Championships. Team USA still our leader in the Superboat division, and Super Hawaii running a very consistent 2nd in good position to win this race should something happen to Team USA, Jim.
And Al Copeland's Navy occupy the next 3 slots, and here's 113 with Al Copeland at the wheel in Popeye's Diet Coke.
And, of course, the real concern of the Popeyes team is this one right here, number 13. With Chuck Norris, Denny hedges the throttle, man. They're playing it very smart. By now they know In Excess is out of the race. Their concern is just keeping ahead of Little Caesars Pizza.
Stan Ware and Tom McCurry have wisely shut down after they had the steering problems with the other Popeyes entry. They'll race again, and by the time they do at the World Championships, Stan Ware should become a father for the very first time.
Jim, a big development now in the open class. Special edition is down. That's J.D. D'Elia looking into the engines. Could this be a dream slipping away for this father and son team?
All day long, they fought with Dirty Laundry back and forth, changing leads several times, and now they're going very slow motion. They may be out of this race.
Oh, look at this.
I can't believe it. Smitty Smith in his shorts looking back in the stern. Dirty Laundry is also out. Both of the top boats are having problems. Can you believe this? The National Championships on the line. It now depends on which boat gets started first.
Joe Mock getting back in the cockpit along with Harold Smitty Smith. Can they get this boat started? Yes, they can. It's moving out. Now the question is, can they catch up with Special Edition and get back up to speed?
They will very easily if Special Edition doesn't get their boat going. Here comes Dirty Laundry getting on a plane. Harold Smitty Smith made the adjustments. Joe Mock has to be happy.
Oh, Smitty must have put a smile in Joe Mock's heart right there because the championship on the line, as you said, Jim, and they are back up to speed right now. They're gaining good ground.
And we have a report from the helicopter that Special Edition still has not restarted and got up to speed. Dirty Laundry coming on strong and should take the lead momentarily. Meanwhile, Thoroughbred P39 leads and has for some time in Pro 1.
They have not raced this well this long before. It might be good signs ahead for the P39 Thoroughbred team. Risky Business in second place. They're having their problems a little bit now, slowing back. Let's go up to Rich Lors, who is over the scene.
That's right, Art. The question out here in Pro Stock is just exactly what's going on in the Risky Business. They've slowed down considerably. Rich Felson is making up all kinds of distance on them. They've dropped way off the pace in Pro Stock. No longer going for the win. The Thoroughbred is way out in front of them now. So basically, I don't know whether they've had some engine trouble. The middle engine seems to be trimmed up a little bit. And had they got a big enough lead over Felson that they can hang in there and maintain the victory. They're doing 70 miles an hour. Felson is close to 100. So how much distance can Rich Felson make up with a 30-mile-an-hour speed advantage? As we come down to in the last few laps of the Pro Stock race, they're looking over their shoulders. They're looking for Felson. John Bruno does not want to see Rich Felson's bow at this point in time. And they obviously have got a problem, and that problem has slowed them down a great deal.
Attrition is the big concern right now. And, Jim, maybe the high speeds are starting to take their heavy toll.
I believe you're right, but look at Popeye's high risk with John Engel and Rich Felson. Frustration earlier, now they are in the hunt. Now they have the scent of victory. And let's look at the attrition. Superboats have a total of 6 boats out. Open have lost 4. Meanwhile, in other classes, 2 are out of Pro 1, and in Pro 2, Splish Splash is out. 13 boats are down.
And leading the Superboat division right now, Team USA, Don Johnson, Richie Powers looking for their first victory of the year. This is their strongest race by far.
And the most consistent race by far for this team. We'll be back with the finale in just a moment.
It's the last lap, the home stretch for the Pro 1 class. Thoroughbred has crossed the finish line. All eyes now are on the battle for the national championship. Can Rick Felson in high risk catch Steve Dorsich in risky business?
He thinks so. Look at those arms flailing, telling John Engel, go! We got him! Risky business is going to be passed. Think of the different emotional gamut. Highs for this boat, high risk. Lows and disappointment for Risky Business, who led throughout the race until this final drive to the finish line.
A tremendously strong finish for Rick Felson and John Engel, especially after having engine problems earlier in the race, Jim. But they hung together, and they obviously have the strongest machine right now for that national championship drive.
One happy crew. Congratulations to P39 Thoroughbred, who wins the event. But for this boat, Popeye's High Risk is a national champion for Pro 1 class 1990 by virtue of the points accumulated throughout the season.
Let's take a look at the race results. As you mentioned, Jim, Thoroughbred in first place, Popeye's High Risk second.
In Pro 2, Great Adventure wins the race and the season championship for Pro 2. Team USA will take the checker flag first place in this event, but the big deal is, who is the national champion, Art?
That's right, Jim. Team USA winning their first race of the year today. And fourth place, that's the big position because number 13 Popeye's Diet Coke with Chuck Norris at the wheel has finished high enough for the National High Point Championships for 1990 in the Superboat division. Now in the open class, Dirty Laundry is not only our winner today, but also our open national champion. Joe Mock and Harold Smitty Smith getting the big trophy for the first time. Here's the race results. Dirty Laundry, good consistent performance from Thoroughbred and Special Edition down in fifth. Jim has made his way to the dock area now to talk with today's Superboat winner.
This gives you a lift going into next year.
Oh, yeah. You know, this is the kind of thing. First of all, I have a first-class team. These guys don't complain. They don't you know, mince with the small stuff. They're all professionals. They're as strong and as tough as they need to be to meet the challenge and meet the competition. And I'm very fortunate to have each and every one of them. And I'd like to thank my sponsors, Chevrolet Motors. They've been with us. They've come in this year and really brought their technology and their understanding of motors and sports racing and stuff into our engine program, and without them we wouldn't have the reliability.
When we get back, we'll be hearing from all the national OPT champions and witness their victory celebration. Much of the crowd has gathered dockside to view the winners. Bill and Warren Gazelle are national champions in Pro 2, and Jim is with them now.
Bill, this isn't the first time you've taken a national championship.
No, we've won a couple of times before, but this is the most thrilling one.
Why?
Well, the circuit is so much different now with OPT. The boats, the whole situation of racing is just tremendous. We love coming down here, and the crowds are so much bigger, and it's just very, very exciting.
Warren, you haven't taken that grin off your face since you came in with that checker flag.
Yeah, I wanted to really win this race.
Why? Besides the national championship.
It was the last race of the year. We had the national championship locked up, and it's always nice to take the last race of the year.
Here's how the Pro 2 national point results came out with Great Adventure on top, Conch Attack in second. What a great finish in Pro 1, the national championships. Jim is with Rick Felson.
What happened, Rick?
Well, you know, we had a real weak motor the whole way, and we were in fourth place, and I just tried to stay there and hope, you know, he would break down. And sure enough, right at the end, we saw a big cloud of water. I trimmed the motors up, and I said, I think we're going to catch him. Sure enough, about 50 yards from the finish, we went right by him, and it's an exhilarating feeling, especially when you think the whole race you're going to lose.
After a great competition, High Risk ends up in front of Risky Business. Our national champions in the open class, Joe Mock and Harold Smith.
Now, you guys didn't have it all that easy. For about 3.5 laps, you battled, of course, John and J.D. D'Elia in the special edition.
Right. It was neck and neck for 3.5 laps. Everybody was running wide open, and then something happened to special edition, a mechanical breakdown, I assume, and then we were all alone.
Yes, but you didn't. You weren't without your problems either. I heard you guys shut down a little bit. Smitty, tell me what happened.
We had numerous problems. We had an alternator, it looks like, go out on the one engine and lost battery power. And with electronic injection and all, you can't run without power. So we stopped. I went back and changed batteries, went to the other batteries and ran the whole boat on one system. That worked okay. We had some overheating problems today, but came through in the end.
You guys seem pretty calm for taking the national championships. Or hasn't it sunk? Has it sunk in yet?
Well, I kind of expected it today.
Special Edition's fifth place finish today, and Dirty Laundry's win gives Joe Mock and Harold Smith the national championship. Now Jim is with our Superboat champions.
You're looking at a big part of the national championship team for 1990 OPT Superboats. You got to really be thrilled.
Oh yeah, it's exciting to win your first time out. You know, of course, you always like winning, whether it's your first year or fifth year. And being my first year and winning the national championship, it just puts the icing on the cake for me.
Danny Hedger, you're beaming.
Oh, I'm really happy. Everything went according to plan today. The boat performed perfectly. It's just a great day for Popeyes.
Can you explain the feeling you have right now?
Well,
it's just exciting. It's exciting to get into a new sport, and to be able to come out as a national champion is just a thrill of a lifetime, really.
In the Superboats in excess, unable to finish today, but Popeye's Diet Coke, a 148-point victory for the national championship. Now our national champions in review. The Gazelles from Bricktown, New Jersey, winning Pro 2 in great adventure. 2 wins on the season, 1 in California, that was Long Beach, and capping it off with a great win here today. In Pro 1, it was Rick Felsen out of Great Neck, New York, along with John Engel. Felsen with 2 first-place finishes, 1 in Miami and 1 in New Orleans. No worse than a third-place finish the whole year. In open class, Joe Mock and Harold Smith. What a year they had. 4 first-place finishes, 1 in Miami, 1 in New Orleans, and Grand Haven, along with Marathon. Our Superboat national champion Chuck Norris and Al Copeland's Popeye's Diet Coke. They won in Long Beach and again in New York. Jim, what a great finale to the OPT regular season.
It surely was a great finale and a great season, and congratulations to the OPT guys. John Carbonell and his staff and all the original directors that formed this group thrilled millions of fans across the country, starting in the spring on the West Coast and concluding here today. Great job, guys. Great job.
The regular season is now complete. Next, down the road, 50 miles south to Key West, OPT's next stop, the World Championships. For our producer, William and Bowden, Jim Hendrick, and Rich Lures, I'm Art Ekman saying thank you for being with us for a tremendous season of offshore racing. The Marathon Offshore Challenge was sponsored by the Monroe County Tourist Development Council, the Florida Keys, and Key West. Popeye's famous fried chicken and biscuits. Promotional consideration was provided by Ferro Blanco Marine Resort, offering the best of island life, unsurpassed fishing, diving, sumptuous dining, and full-service marina. Ferro Blanco.